Okay, the real estate market in California's largest counties continue to thrive, but there are some red flags that are cause for concern. Let's break down the details with Jonathan Miller, CEO and president of Miller Samuel. Jonathan, always good to see you. So what is the shape of California's largest markets here, especially in light of the wildfires we continue to see?
Well, still surprisingly strong. Part of it has been a release of pent-up demand that markets were essentially restrained during the lockdown for COVID in the spring, and there was no spring market, which is when that's the most robust period of the year. And there's a pent-up demand of of home buying that really built up to a frenzy. Once the release occurred, we saw this massive increase in contract activity. One of the problems with the market has been that inventory is not keeping pace with demand. So that could be a pricing issue going forward in terms of affordability.
Speaking of affordability, we know that real estate in a lot of these markets, very expensive. I'm thinking mainly San Francisco, a lot of people wanting to live there because of the concentration of the big tech companies in Silicon Valley close by. But now with so many of us working remotely, do you think that we might see a pullback in demand for homes in places like that? Because people are realizing and companies are realizing that you don't need to be in the office to do the job. You can do the job for a Silicon Valley company, in Ohio.
Right. I mean, that's certainly logical. And, as we know, Zoom has basically expanded the tether between work and home to an infinite length. There's a tremendous amount of flexibility. However, we're still seeing a surge or a very high level of an intensity of home buying that's going on, despite the fires and the distortion created by COVID. So the numbers aren't showing that yet.
Is this data ultimately good for some of the home builders like a Toll Brothers?
Absolutely. One of the chronic issues with housing has been the lack of supply. Supply is at all-time lows, and as you can see, in our research, that new contracts or new listings, new inventory coming to the market is actually declining. It's sales activity and inventory is going in opposite directions, and that reduces affordability in an already high-end housing market.
What can you tell us within the state? Sort of where do you see things the strongest at the moment, and does inventory or enough inventory continue to be a problem?
Inventory is absolutely a problem throughout the state, and what is happening is property just isn't coming on nearly as quickly as demand is demanding of it. So there isn't a section of the state, at least from our view, that stands out as being not having a shortage of inventory. It is a universal problem, and I would contend it's a universal problem across a good part of the United States. It's not just California that is seeing this chronic supply shortage.
Jonathan, what's the longer term impact from the wildfires on the housing market?
Well, I think it depending on how much they continue to expand, I think that limits or will restrain new development of product that's in or near national parks and things along that line. So I do think that this ends up restraining an expansion of the footprint of housing, but it certainly doesn't remove the activity that's going to be there to replace the lost housing.
Jonathan, we keep talking about housing being a bright spot, but these job numbers not looking good, and so many more thousands of people losing their jobs this week at some major companies. Are you concerned that we're just going to start to see a hiccup in the real estate market in the coming months?
I don't see how we can't. I'm still pretty optimistic, but if you look at how housing prices are ratcheting up, and then you look at income is not ratcheting up anywhere near the pace, at some point there's going to be a reconciliation that has to occur.
All right, we'll leave it there. Jonathan Miller, CEO and president of Miller Samuel. Always good to see you.
Great to be here. Thank you.